History is full of rich connections to God and the great outdoors He created for us. I'm on a mission to share these experiences with my children, alongside other fathers who want to introduce their sons and daughters to the beauty and bounty of the world where we are blessed to walk with our Heavenly Father in His garden. My name is Jacob Whitley. This is Fathers and the Great Outdoors.
You got him. Come on. You got him, Kenzie.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fathers in the Great Outdoors. If you want to help support this content, you can visit our website, which is greatoutdoorspodcast.com. There's plenty of good merch. We also have some camping equipment and some hunting and fishing stuff as well that you can check out. Today we have Mike Burnside. And just to kind of jump into your background a little bit, what was your introduction to kind of the great outdoors?
I grew up in the country. We grew up 5 miles outside of a little town, a really little town, and my parents at that time were on a beef and wheat farm. And so, I had to run of the land, bicycled everywhere, fished, squirrel hunted, hunted possums, coons at night, me and my brother, and just had, it was just a way of life, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And then from there, in the 8th grade, moved to New Mexico. My dad took a job there, and same way, I lived out in the country and got to enjoy the mountains. Little trout stream, only about 60 yards from our house. So between trout fishing and just doing everything there, just the outdoors is just a way of life.
Yeah. And you're in Oklahoma now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Oklahoma. I came back to Oklahoma. I was raised in Oklahoma and migrated back this way. I went to college in Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. And then came back after being out in the working world for a few years.
So, in your previous experiences, did you think that when you would start having a family that you would be implementing that, or was that even a thought when you were younger?
Yeah, I knew that somehow I wanted to introduce, our kids, whatever, at that time, thinking, okay, when we have kids, I want to introduce them to the outdoors. It was just a way of life that, like I said, it's a way of life that I knew, and I wanted them to be able to enjoy that same sort of way of life, and enjoy the same sort of things, and providing every different type of meat for the family if they could.
So, why don't we transition into your situation now? I'm assuming this was a process from when you first basically had a family.
Yes, yeah, we had children when we were, trying to think how old we were. I was 31, and 1995, kids were born, and we had triplets. We lost one son after 5 days. He had surgery, didn't survive that. But we had surviving, we call them surviving twins. Had a son and daughter, and we lived at that time, and we still do. We live, Tulsa, northeast Oklahoma, Tulsa area, and my son, as he grew, we did everything. We'd go fishing. And my daughter, we'd go fishing all the time. My daughter and son both love to fish, and my son, we'd go hunting until High school sports took care of a lot of that. He couldn't go as much, but we would actually. I had a brother living in Colorado, and we would buy a youth license for my son. And then for some cousins' sons, we'd go out there, and they'd go cow elk hunting. Typically during December. So that was a big experience for him, and of course, it was a big experience for me being able to take him out there elk hunting, and got to do that for quite a few years. And then when he got into college, wasn't hunting as much. I asked, it was one of those things I never really thought about my daughter wanting to hunt that much, but the whole time I think she was waiting on me to ask her. And so the first time we went deer hunting together, she said, I've been waiting. When I was young, she calls him Bubba. Bubba was hunting with you, and I always wondered when my time was, and now this is my time. And so, that hit me as a dad. She'd been waiting on me to take her hunting, and so I just never even envisioned that she would want to go hunting. So, and that's been. She went turkey hunting when she was 15, and she got a gobbler, and then we went deer hunting. First time she went deer hunting was in 2018. Yeah, 2018. And she loves it. She absolutely loves outdoors, between hunting and fishing. And as you've seen, she requires more help than what a person would typically expect. She was born with cerebral palsy. She's always been in a wheelchair. She's had multiple surgeries, and she's had both hips surgeries multiple times. She's had rods put along her spine, and other surgeries. And she fires a weapon with called a vacuum air actuator. She sucks on a tube. It goes to electrical. It's changed to a electrical current. We have a 12-volt battery with us that it goes to. That the cables go to the trigger guard, be it a crossbow, shotgun, or a rifle, and it mounts to the trigger guard. And when she sucks on it, it's automatic. It's changed automatically the current that it pushes it's called an actuator. Almost, if you can imagine looks like a little small shock absorber in the trigger guard area, and it pushes against the trigger. So when she sucks, it fires. And we started out with that, and as we've gotten more technologically advanced, I have a Tacticam that's mounted on a scope that we're hunting with. Be it can be mounted on a scope, or it can just be mounted to a rifle barrel if it's going to be close range. It has a zoom, and we have a tablet mounted on her wheelchair in front of her, where whatever I'm looking at through the scope, or whatever I'm pointing the shotgun or rifle or crossbow at, she's seeing everything there. So it's opened, that in itself has opened up a whole new world for her. Before, where she's having to look straight ahead in a ground blind. Well, now if I'm looking at deer 150 yards away, or raccoons or coyotes, or anything like that, she's getting to see a whole new world that she wasn't exposed to before.
Right. So
it's exciting. It's exciting for her, but it's just as exciting, more exciting probably for those of us who help her, because I aim the weapon, and her mom sits beside her, and we have on electronic hearing muffs. When I whisper good, they hear that, and mom knows to help her with the tube, the safety in the tube. And Kenzie, when we practice, everything just goes just like it's supposed to. She sucks, it fires. Well, when we get into the heat of the moment, she gets buck fever, and she will blow on that tube as hard as possible, and it will not fire unless she sucks on it. And I think that's a built-in safety. So it's funny that there's times I've counted on because I typically try to video, if everything works out right, I try to video her reaction, because that's, that's usually the best part of the hunt. Just seeing how excited she gets. And from the time I've whispered good before until the time the gun fires, that I've counted as 8 seconds, the longest stretch. And that whole time, if that deer is moving or animal's moving, whatever we're hunting, I have to stay on target that whole time. And I don't know when the gun's going off. It's a surprise to me. So you always got to be ready. But it's so fun to see her reaction, the buck fever, the excitement she gets. Just having to. Yeah, I've always said that I never realized it as much, but those with disabilities, for her, she's never physically provided for the family. And for her to be able to put food on the table, physically doing something, and when we have excess deer, venison, we'll donate it to the food pantry, here, local food pantry, and she loves to go. She has to go with me to do that. It gives her such a great feeling of self-worth, knowing that she's providing for the community, family, friends. That I think that just is just a huge boost to her.
Right. Is this? It's a very fascinating tool. Where was this invented by somebody you knew, or is this something that's already on the market?
No, it's on the market. We had when one of the first hunts she went on in 2018, I found out about a foundation. It's one of those things I didn't even know that groups would. I didn't even know those groups were out there that would help, take disabled individuals out. And a friend of ours that we'd met had told us his daughter had had hunted with this foundation. He said, you need to contact them because they would love to take Kenzie. And so I contacted them. That year we went to Illinois on a crossbow hunt for whitetail. Well, they had that system mounted to the crossbow, and I didn't even know things like that existed. Mm-hmm. So we hunted for 3 days. She got a doe on the very last evening, and so I said, we need to get one of those ourselves. And so that early the next year, January, I bought one just so we could have to use on our own system. And we've used it ever since then. And the more I've known, there's the company, there's different companies, but the one that's, I believe they're out of Indiana. It's called Be Adaptive, and they have every sort of hunting configuration you can imagine. For whatever your disability is, you can bite down on the tube, the vacuum tube. You can pull it with just a finger. They have it set up where you can use just a finger strap. And then they have fishing equipment, anything adaptive. They can make, and if you got something, they can design and engineer something. But now that when I found that out, they've got they help a tremendous amount of people get out of the world, into the hunting, fishing world.
That's very cool. So Be Adaptive is the one that you purchased from?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Be Adaptive. I think the website is beadaptive.com, but that we purchased that one from Be Adaptive. And like I said, never even knew anything like that existed until I got to be associated with that hunt that she used that one on. And then we use that system on everything we do. And, in 2021, she got a track chair, called a track chair. It looks like we call it Sherman. It's, I'd ask her about what we wanted to name it. And it's basically because it's a Sherman tank. I mean, it's like a power wheelchair, except it's got tracks on it, and it will go anywhere we need to go. And she's pulled deer with it. They don't recommend doing that, but we put a sled behind it and put a deer on it, and she's drug it to the house, and that gives her a great feeling of self-worth.
Right.
That she's helping the job. But like I said, and with using that track chair, it's got two big batteries underneath it. And we have I bought called a pigtail, wiring pigtail, where I can, when we're going to go hunting, I can just hook that shooting system up to the batteries on there. We don't have to take another little small 12-volt battery with us. So, that makes it really handy too, where, it's just hook it up and we're ready to go.
Right. I'm guessing though it sounds like it's at least a 2-man operation, and you and your wife.
Yeah, with us it's a 3-man. With my wife having to help her, with the vaccines.
That's what I mean. In addition to her.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Typically what they have on the system we use, it has a Velcro strap to where, they have systems where they can, you can mount your rifle, your crossbow, whatever it is, and they have adjustments. If you got enough hand controls, you can move the scope up and down. And it's got a phone adapter that basically the crosshairs are on. If one person in a wheelchair, track chair, if they've got the upper body mobility, they can actually aim the weapon itself, and then they can either Velcro that to the buttstock, and they can suck on that tube themselves, or in the best situation, it can be used by that person. But in our situation, she has to have 2 people helping her.
Right. Does her brother ever get involved with this?
No, he had never hunted. He had never hunted with us. He's trying to think. He did meet us. He was actually working at the time, met us on a mule deer hunt in Wyoming. He was actually working probably 50, 60 miles from there, and he met us for supper one night. But other than that, he's always off in the working world. And he and I will go hunting. Typically, he gets some time off right around Thanksgiving when our Oklahoma firearms season is going on, and he and I will get to do our hunting together during that time. So he's real limited on when he gets to go with us.
Right. I guess since we're on your son, give me a quick background on what it was like just sharing that experience with him when you first started hunting together.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we don't have really good turkey hunting here, where I hunt. I've got some friends that are basically ranchers. They're right at the Kansas-Oklahoma line, and I've known them since my college years. And, we just go up there hunting on their place. They just opened it up to us. And so we've got access, and at that time I had a little camping trailer, I would stay on the weekends. And, I said that, when I was growing up, my dad, just like most of the time, he wouldn't have time to go off and do these things with me. But I was able, with my job and everything, my work, I was able to take those times off. And I said, we got to do a lot of things together. Like I said, the elk hunting, deer hunting, turkey, those are our main things we did. And I took him on a lot of controlled hunts. He got drawn for state of Oklahoma. I'd put him in every year for different controlled hunts they had. And he got to do some good hunts through them. And so, until he played high school football. And until that time started, we were doing a lot of hunting together. And then football became his life during high school, so that kind of took care of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about since more recently? It sounds like you at least have something annual. I want to guess.
Yeah, we will go. Like I said, typically around Thanksgiving, he will get time off. Thanksgiving week, and it depends. Usually, it might. I think last year he had to leave maybe on Monday afternoon or Tuesday. I mean, so we basically hunt for 3 days, 4 days, would typically the max before he's got to go back to work. So yeah, we'll get our time where we get to go. And of course he's married now. And last year his wife, he and his wife have hunted, he's taken her hunting. here on our property. We have 80 acres here where we live. And with those friends of ours, he took her up there last year. And, so she was hunting with us, myself, him, and his wife. And we got to hunt for a few days together.
That must have been interesting.
Oh, yeah. And she enjoys outdoors. She didn't get I'm trying to think. No, she didn't get a deer last year. But the 2 years before, she got a buck on our property. They hunted the back of our 80 acres. And she got two, I would call them two good bucks, for our area. It was good. And she enjoys it. She enjoys the outdoors. Her dad's been really involved in outdoors while, they were growing up. So they actually started dating in high school. And they've been married now 2 years, a little over 2 years. So they've known each other for, I guess, about 11 or 12 years.
Very cool. So going back a little bit, when Kenzie first mentioned that she wanted to start hunting with you, what went through your head? Was there a hesitation, or was it immediately, how are we going to make this work?
Yeah, it was. When we found out about that foundation to go on the mule deer hunt, it was late in the summer. I want to say it was probably like August when I found out about it, and the guide even told me, he said, we might have a hard time, this late trying to get a guide outfitter, that has the capabilities to take somebody with disabilities. And said, so he kind of warned me, hey, it might not happen this year. Might not be able to pull it off, but we will do the whitetail deer hunt and the crossbow hunt in Illinois. And so I told Kenzie, I said, well, if nothing else, if it doesn't all work out, you and I will go hunting here in the ground blind behind the house. And I, basically at that time, first time that her and I went, it was hand over hand. I had her, basically, she was having her arm over mine on the gun stock. And so she was helping me when it came time of the buck. And we did that our first year, like I said, 2018. And then after that crossbow, so she actually killed the doe the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving in 2018. We came back and we hunted, a few days around the house here. And I think it's towards the next weekend, which our rifle season here only goes 3 weekends, basically 16 days. And so we're getting that last weekend. She said, this is the last time I'm going to go. I didn't want to push her. I said, okay, this will be our last time for the season. Well, it just so happened that a little 8-point buck was coming up through the area that evening. And so she got to help shoot him, and she was thrilled. So that 2018, she got to kill a doe with a crossbow, and then we hunted here with a rifle. So it was, my hesitation was just how do we pull it off? I just didn't know. I didn't know how to even do it. The equipment, and that fall, I got enlightened a whole lot seeing the different equipment and that going with those foundations, that there's guys out there that, have, I say the older you get, the more you're like, okay, I've done this, I've done that. What do I do from here? And when you're able to be a part of something like this and see how much you're helping somebody do something you love so much, it opens up a whole new world for you again. To see their excitement and somebody who otherwise wouldn't ever be able to do anything, and you're able to help stoke that fire in them. And we got to go on quite a few foundations. Have helped with different hunting, and every one of them has been a great experience because some guys have told me, I went into this, they'd be volunteers that foundation, thinking, well, boy, I'm really helping this girl, our case, helping this girl go hunting. Man, look at the great job I'm doing. He said, by the time it's all over, he said, they helped me far more than I ever helped them. To the experience and just that all the things you're able to do for somebody.
Yeah, I did a little short video of a elder at my time at my church about mission trips, and he ended up while he was in the mission having the thought, I can't help all these people. I'm gonna go home, and someone told him, you can't help all of them, but you can at least help one. And I think that's kind of going along the same lines. A great message for anybody that's considering volunteering and maybe is hesitant because they don't think they can make an impact.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's and each child or each individual is different. Adults have either they've had leg amputations or they've got some sort of physical ailment. Like you said, and I've known some guys that have told me that they didn't they went into it kind of like what I did. I went into it, well, what can I do? How can I even help somebody? And one guy told me that he the first time he ever had done anything like that, he took a disabled adult out, and he said, just nonchalantly, I asked him, well, how's your deer season going? And he said, the guy told him, said, what do you mean? He goes, well, no, how have you been doing so far this fall? He goes, this is it. This is my hunt, this weekend. And, I don't have people who will help me go out and do that. He said, this is the only shot I've got this whole year. And he said, it opened up my whole eyes, that, typically we think, well, I'm just going to put on my hunting clothes. I'm going to grab my gun and go down and go hunting. He said, a lot of people don't have that option. They don't, to go out and go hunting is, and ours is enough trouble trying to, get Kenzie ready, get everything together, because it's a big operation for three of us to get our schedules coordinated, go out there and hunt. But somebody who doesn't have that support group, they don't have somebody to take them out there. So yeah, it opens up your eyes when you see somebody that, like you said, may not be able to help them all, but you can help one.
Yeah. What's is there any specific animals that are on Kenzie's bucket list?
Not really. I will. I always ask her. And I will say that I found out over the years. She went on a turkey hunt in Texas. I believe that was 21, and mom was busy. She had something going on, and one of the guys there was going to. He would basically be aiming the shotgun. I'd be sitting beside him. Well, I learned real fast on that trip. It's better if mom goes along because everything flows easier because mom she always wants mom there, and so yeah, it's just helping. Trying to think. I got off target topic there. What was the original question?
If there was any
bucket list.
Yeah, bucket list animals.
Not really. I always ask her, hey, do you want to go, somebody's asked us to go hunt this. Do you want to go hunt this? And she'll usually say, yeah. Now I will say everything's always a yes. I will say one exception here in a second, but she always say yes. And when it comes time, she has anxiety. She's a creature of schedule, of habit. And, so, when it's time to go, it throws her off her schedule. It just messes her up. And as soon as she's there, everything's fine. But we've learned, we don't tell her typically until the day before it's time to leave. Hey, we're going so-and-so, because she will drive us crazy. When are we leaving? What are we doing? How are we doing it? And, like I said, every animal, she's always, we always ask her, hey, do you want to go hunt this? Well, hogs have been one thing that I've finally convinced her that she will go hunt hogs. but we were on one deer hunt, and we were in the brush, and we had just a mesh panel built up in front of us. Well, we had some hogs in the brush behind us, came through, and they were, of course, who knows how close they were. Sounded like maybe 20 yards. They were snorting, carrying on. And of course, as a dad, I was thinking, okay, worst case scenario, how am I going to protect her if anything goes wrong? But I think that just that's always been in the back of her mind. And she didn't want to do anything with hogs. But we've got a guy that's asked her, and he said, oh yeah, she's finally agreed to go. And it's here in Oklahoma, about an hour from our house. So I think she'll finally do that. But she will usually say yes, but she doesn't know exactly what all she's getting into. She actually went alligator hunting last October in Louisiana. A man, messaged me. We'd been following each other for a while, and he messaged me and said, "Hey, I'd love it. If she wants to ever go alligator hunting, I want to take her." Well, ask Kenzie. Oh yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, I want to do it. Well, when we got there, and they was just like you see on the shows. They basically they hook them. It was on I'd call it almost like a bank line. They had them on they used a half chicken. He pulled the rope up, and the alligator was on there. Well, then she had to sit there the whole time while I'm rigging up her rifle. I have to attach everything to it. She's probably had 20 minutes to think about it. And the biggest thing she was worried about is that there's going to be a live alligator on the boat. And finally convinced her, no, he's not going to be live. You're going to shoot him. And once she shot him, everything's great. But until then, she was a nervous wreck. I mean, it was, and of course I was a little nervous too. I mean, it was, it's, you never know how this is all going to work. And it was a big gator. So, she, yeah.
Was it growling at you?
Well, he was, when he came out from underneath the brush, then of course he went crazy, and when he was close to the boat, and he was 10'6" gator. And so, yeah, I was like, yeah, it made me a little nervous too. But no, she's been up for anything. We were going to go bear hunting in North Carolina in October, and it would have been about a week and a half, 2 weeks after the hurricane came through.
Yeah.
So that canceled that. But I've had a guide in Michigan. He messaged me this summer. He'd seen some of her videos, and he has an operation set up, and we're going to Michigan next fall for bear hunting. So I think we'll have both of them. We just basically pushed off the bear hunt in North Carolina with the foundation. So we'll probably have two bear hunts for next fall.
Very cool. Hopefully she likes to eat bear.
Yeah, that's Mom, I don't know if Mom's that excited about eating bear, but I was like, oh yeah, I'm excited about it.
I've never had it, but I've heard the texture is similar to steak and the taste is similar to pork.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, I'm anxious to give it a try.
What's her favorite game meat to eat?
Probably I'd say deer, just because that's typically what we're able to hunt. I would typically say deer, and of course she loves to eat fish. And when we have fish, because we've got 2 ponds here on our 80 acres, and her and I will go fishing a lot. Mom's a flight attendant for American Airlines, and she's gone 3 to 4 days at a time. So on those times, I'm at home with her. Sometimes she goes to a day center during the day, but then the other days I'm home with her, and so I'll ask her about going fishing. And she loves to fish. I help her with everything, from casting, reeling it in. I have her use her hand to help me reel it in. But anytime we have fish, she always asks, first thing is my fish? She wants to know if we're eating her fish. So yeah, she loves to eat fish, but I'd say venison is probably her number one game meat.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you guys churchgoers?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We go to church here. We live rurally, so we go to the town that we have a little town. It's 4 miles from the house, but where we go to church, where they went to school, is about 10 miles.
So in your this is a question I always like to. Well, I say like to. This is probably going to be episode 2. um, the question that I want to ask everyone, and for you, it's going to be kind of a 2-part question. But where do you see God in the outdoors, and how? In your situation, where do you see God?
In the outdoors, I mean, just seeing everything available, from the sunrise, the world waking up, the sunrise, the sunsets, and the peace where you can actually, talk to God when you're away from everything, all the different distractions of daily life. Uh, you get to see the magnificence of all the creation. And in our case, I mean, we've seen God all along the way, from the how Kenzie has changed our heart. And when we found out about Kenzie, she was about 9 months old. And my wife says she always says it was God speaking through me. That we found out she's going to be moderate to severe cerebral palsy. And my wife said, she was going through a funk, that I always say it's a grieving process. You're grieving for lost dreams, grieving for the child, grieving for your lost dreams, the child's lost dreams. And I told, man, I remember saying it, but I told her, so this isn't the life. This isn't the life we would have chosen. I said, but God has given us the option. We can make it Kenzie's best life possible. We can do everything there is, or we can just wallow in pity. And she said, she always when she tells her testimony, she always says that was God speaking to her through me. And Janet, mom, my wife, she is, her faith has always been, she's always, she's been the rock. And, we've seen in everything from, different surgeries and the impact that Kenzie's had on different people, on their lives. And, Kenzie, just in her everyday life, the one thing I always remember was she would have been about 5 years old. And, when I came home that day, Janet told me, she was teary eyed that, Kenzie had, Janet had gone to do something in our house that time. And she came in, quietly, from the other room. And Kenzie had bowed her head down, hold her hands together and said, "God bless mommy, daddy, and Bubba." And I said, she, of anybody who has every reason to be mad at the world, Kenzie is the happiest girl there is. And, her impact, seeing what God has used her life for on other people's lives, on her testimony, and just the things she's been through, and that she always say, Janet's gone on her trip right now. She left today. She'll be gone, come back Tuesday. But Kenzie and I already talked. Yeah, we'll be going to church. But if I said, hey, we're not going to go to church, she'd say, Dad, we got to go to church. We got to go to church. So yeah, I see God in everything she does. I mean, her impact on people's lives and what God has done for us, that, he's given us the strength to make it through, tough situations, and he's with us. He's with us every step of the way.
That's a great story.
Thanks.
Yeah, I always love hearing stories like that. What would your and Kenzie's message be to those who are either mildly disabled or severely disabled and maybe don't think they can get in the great outdoors?
Don't give up, and there are those groups out there. When I didn't, like I said, I didn't know about them. but and they're not in our everyday purview of seeing these things. But those groups are out there who love to help take individuals out there. You know, will help get individuals out there. And you may have to, if you can do a computer search, Google, disabled, for example, North Carolina, disabled hunting, South Dakota, disabled fishing. And, it might take a few searches, but you'll be able to find those groups who will help you do those things. And, and a lot of people think, well, I can't take this person out there into the wilds. Even just taking somebody out to a city pond, where you can fish, they can do such it's good for their soul just to be able to get out. A lot of these people are, they've got disabilities. They don't just be able to get outside where they can, breathe the fresh air, get away from their distractions for a little while. Is really what a lot of them can do. I always say, for Kenzie, I always said that, the trophy is the opportunity, just being able to get out, not having to kill an animal, a deer, turkey, whatever that might be. But the trophy is just being able to have that opportunity to get out there. That will do so much good for their soul. So yeah, like I said, just if they can find somebody, friends, family, if there's, public transportation, they might say, if they don't have those individuals available, they can find public transportation that, will transport wheelchairs, stuff like that. Just tell them, hey, I want to go down to the city park, and the first time they might not be able to fish. They might need somebody to help them. They can just tell that public transportation, hey, come back and pick me up in 3 hours. Just keep on pushing. Those people are out there. They just have to, you have to search for them. But those groups, foundations are all out there, and they love to help individuals get into the outdoors.
That's awesome that that's available.
Yeah. It's just like being a parent. We wish there's a manual on how we do this, and if you have disability, we wish there's a manual on how to find those resources. If you're a veteran, there's lots of places out there. Just check with your veteran. Tell your VA clinic what you're looking for, and they will help you find things like that. So yeah, there's a lot out there. It's just trying to find those. And there's hunts out there. Every state, I've found Corps of Engineers land that some will have a hunt. They will have a disability hunt. Kenzie got drawn I put her in for a controlled hunt, and she's going deer hunting at a Corps of Engineers land on our lake here, pretty close. It's only about, where we going about 25 miles from our house, but they have 6 individuals a year come, and so she'll be going deer hunting there in the middle of November. So yeah, just keep on pushing, trying to find those places.
Yeah, that's cool. Is there any foundations that you would want to give it a shout out to?
Yeah, if you're under 25, I'd say, there's so many foundations that will help provide opportunities. Holy Pursuits Foundation, they took Kenzie on that crossbow whitetail hunt and a mule deer hunt in Wyoming. The Life and Liberty Outdoors, there in Texas Panhandle, and they take, under 25 and under. But then there's, they drop off. The older you get, the more they drop off. But there's still those who will, in North Carolina, Hands of a Sportsman is a foundation that they have all sorts of hunts, fishing trips, all sorts of things that they do there. And yeah, those two. Well, and another one is they've got different branches. Disabled Outdoorsman USA. They started out, their main branch is in Texas, but they've got one in Utah, I believe Alabama, and I think their newest is in Minnesota. So they're expanding, and they do great work. They took Kenzie on that turkey hunt. But yeah, there's so many out there. Like I said, if a person will Google search or even on Facebook, under the search, do a disability hunt for whatever state, disability hunting in, Florida or things like that, you'll be surprised once you start digging into other layers, how many are out there is just trying to find those. But yeah, those there do great, just do tremendous work.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't cover?
Not that I can think of. I'll probably think of something later, but now that's all I can think of at the moment.
That's always how it works.
Yeah.
If that's the case, we'll have to have you back on.
Oh, yeah. No problem at all.
Well, that's all the questions I had. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on, tell us your family's story. Is there? I guess you can share your social links if you want to have how people can find you.
Yeah, on Twitter, and I'm on basically every social network because I've always said that I want to share, what Kenzie's doing, because it's amazing how much of a resource I've come for. I've had people friend me from halfway around the world. They've got disabled children, or they've got disabled uncles or aunts. They didn't even know these things are possible. Where do they find this? And I try to help people. Okay, yeah, this is where these some areas to start with. On Twitter, I'm at Burnside 4141, and on Instagram, this one's long. I got to figure out how to change it, but everything I wanted was taken.
Mm-hmm.
It's at Mike_Burnside_doing_life. So it's at Mike Burnside doing life. And then on Facebook, it's just Mike Burnside. And Mike or Michael, can't remember. But if they're looking for me, you will. My profile picture has a picture of a blaze orange, Kenzie and I in blaze orange after one of her hunts. So if you look at the profile pictures, if you see a bunch of blaze orange, that's me. Trying to think, and that's pretty much. I am on TikTok, but TikTok's hard to post stuff. I can't post much about hunting because it'll be taken down.
Right.
But I think I can't even remember what my handle is there.
Right. Well, if you think of any others, you can send them over to me. I'll make sure to put them and the ones you mentioned in the description of the different places this is posted, and people can find you from there.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, I really appreciate it. Glad that you came on, and hopefully the hunts continue and you guys continue your adventure.
Yeah, we've actually we have a foundation. I didn't know where she got that deer hunt. She got drawn for a disability hunt, but another foundation wanted to take us last year, and I'll give a shout out to them. I haven't done anything with them yet, but it's Into the Wild Outdoors in Arizona. We're leaving here. When is it? Well, we're going to do vacation / hunt. We're going to see the Grand Canyon, and then we're going on a Coues deer hunt in Arizona, southern Arizona, which Coues is a small whitetail. And so she will be hunting that, and Coues is. I've always read stories about Coues, I was really had a lot of trepidation because everything I've always read was a hard animal, long range shots. And you see very few. But, when I talked to them, they said, well, yeah, they are typically, but he said, we hunt private land. It's a different, I said, oh yeah, I understand that. I've hunted public land versus private land before. And so, yeah, she will be doing a coos deer hunt in the next first part of November. We'll be doing that. So excited about that one. But yeah, Into the Wild Outdoors. I know they do javelina, and coos deer hunt.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's another one that I think would be a good one for people who are out in West and can travel, to go to we'll see what they can do with them.
Right. To try to hunt in every state. Is that kind of the goal?
Well, the problem is, Kenzie is self-perpetuating. When I post a video and they see her excitement, and I'll have foundations, hey, we love for Kenzie to come hunt with us, and because so that it's like, yeah, we'll go. And it's gotten to the point where I have to kind of, we can't push that into this year, but next year, so yeah, it seems like out West, it seems like that's kind of, we've gravitated. We haven't actually from east of Oklahoma, Louisiana, we haven't hunted, but I keep on saying we've got to, of course, Michigan will be Michigan next year, but we need to kind of start working back, seeing for her to see a whole different variety of animals.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to continue following as well, and I look forward to seeing the updates on all that.
Yeah, I'll be posting some here pretty soon. Hopefully it'll be good updates.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate it. You have a good night, and feel free to reach out anytime if you have any ever thoughts or questions about anything. I don't know what I can help with, but there's the offer.
Well, thanks. I tell you, you never know. I mean, I've had people bounce ideas off me that, from the outside looking in, well, what if you try this? It's one of those things. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, appreciate that.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, Jacob.
Absolutely. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. And if you want to join the adventure, you can pick yourself up a nice hat or a camping coffee mug and brew yourself some coffee right above a nice little fire at greatoutdoorspodcast.com. Oh, kind of grainy.